Jagata Sampahari Patita Pavana Hetu Saba prabhu napae beyara aha prabhu Nityananda premananda suti Ananda Sukhi Kripa Bhagavat Koro Ami Parakukhi prabhu lokana. Caitanya Bhagavat Daya Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. So it was here, in this place, where Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur resided. Lord Nityananda, we heard Lord Nityananda told Vrindavan Das stay here in this place, and it was here he had his residence, and it was here he wrote Caitanya Bhagavat, which is the equivalent of Srimad Bhagavatam. How Srimad Bhagavatam describes the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and the Caitanya Bhagavat describes the pastimes of Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So this is definitely a very special place that you have to be really empowered to write scriptures, to write such a glorification of the pastimes of the Lord requires a lot of spiritual potency. And it was here in this place that Vrindavan Das was able to get that spiritual empowerment. And that's why he's Vrindavan Das Thakur. Thakur means very great devotee. Jaipataka Swami told us one time that he wanted to call our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he wanted to call him also Thakur. And Prabhupada told him, he said, "Oh, I have not done very much yet. I have to do more before you can call me Thakur." That was Prabhupada's humility. But anyway, that was Prabhupada's desire. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he is written in the Caitanya Bhagavat, Jagai Madai Haiti Munishe Papista, Purushera Kita Haiti Munishe Lagishta. We can understand what is the mode of Vrindavan Das Thakur. He said, Jagai Madai Haiti Munishe Papista. He said, I am more sinful than Jagai and Madhai. I am lower than the worm in stew. This is, and Prabhupada said, when these acharyas say like that, they're not just saying it to be humble, they actually mean it. They actually mean like, they feel like that. If you read Caitanya Bhagavat, there it describes like that. Then he goes on to say, anyone who hears my name, they lose their pious activities. And anyone who chants my name, they become sinful. Only the mercy of Lord Nityananda could deliver such a fallen soul. So in this way, Vrindavan Das Thakur shows how he glorifies his spiritual master, who was the Supreme Lord, Lord Nityananda, none different from Balaram. Brajendra Nandana se Sachi Sutta Hailo he Balaram Hailo Nitai. Brajendra Nandana has come as the son of Sachi, Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Balaram has come as Nitai. So Krishna and Balaram are non-different. Only difference is their color. Krishna's dark color and Balaram's white color. So the same way, Nityananda and Caitanya Mahaprabhu are Krishna and Balaram. They're not different. In the Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj describes in the introductory verses, he says, Caitanya and Nityananda are like the sun and the moon. How does it begin? Vande Shri Krishna Caitanya Sanho, Vande Shri Krishna Tanya Nityanando Sahodito, Godo Daye Pushpavanto Chitro Samo Tamo Nudo. That Caitanya and Nityananda are like the sun and the moon. And the sun and the moon have arisen together to bless everyone's heart and to dispel the darkness of ignorance. So Vrindavan Das Thakur was residing here, and he composed so many wonderful verses. the beauty of the Caitanya Bhagavat is, you know, just like I was in Calcutta temple one day while the brahmacharis were all there and they were taking prasadam, and somebody was reading Caitanya Bhagavat, and they were reading the Bengali. They just read the Bengali. And everybody can understand immediately everything. It's all, you know, it's Bengali language, and it's vernacular. It can be understood. You know, we have to have everything translated. What's this word? But the Bengali boys, the Bengali brahmacharis, they were all sitting there, and somebody's reading the Caitanya Bhagavat, and they're all, you know, they're really enjoying. And even sometimes there'll come some famous verse, and everybody will say it together. You know, it's so wonderful because they can all follow it. And sometimes you go by the kitchen at Mayapur Institute, they have a recording. Somebody's reading the Caitanya Bhagavat. And, you know, they're cooking away and they're hearing the Caitanya Bhagavat. They're reciting all of these verses from the Caitanya Bhagavat. And they don't need to get it translated for them. You know, they can understand everything. Very nice. They're so fortunate. That is the beauty of being Bengali, that everything is, you can go right into these scriptures like Caitanya Bhagavat immediately. It's so wonderful poetry. Just like when we were kids at school, you know, they would make us recite poetry, and we had to recite sometimes Shakespeare. Oh, so terrible. You know. Actually, Prabhupada learned all of those things when he was in school. Prabhupada learned it better than I learned it. Although he studied in Calcutta and I studied over there in England, but he knew Shakespeare better than me. He learned it better. And he didn't just learn Shakespeare, he also learned Srimad Bhagavat, Sanskrit as well. So, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he was a poet. He was a master of, he could write so many beautiful verses in poetry describing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. And here we have his worshipable deities. He was worshipping these deities of Gaur Nitai. So he wasn't just only sitting writing his books, he was also worshipping the deities. So every day he would be doing the worship, offering arti, and taking the remnants of the food offered to the deity. So Lord Nityananda arranged that Vrindavan Das Thakur would stay here, and Vrindavan Das Thakur stayed in this place. They have the original manuscript here, right? The original manuscript of the Caitanya Bhagavat is here in this place. And of course, they didn't have any laptops to write on. They didn't even have any ballpoint pens or typewriters. How did they manage to do it? It was all written on palm leaves. And the pens, I remember when I was a kid at school, you know, we had pens, we used to have to fill the pen, you know, and sometimes you write and the ink blocks, big blobs of ink everywhere, you know, so difficult, you know. Because we had to fill the pen, you remember Charichitra? Yeah. That we had to use those kinds of things. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he was using it like a feather. They use like feathers, the point of the feather to write. And writing on a palm leaf. And there's no bottles of ink. I don't know what they use for the ink. But, you know, not easy, that's the point. How much labor, how difficult it was. They have, if we go to Vrindavan, in Vrindavan, they have the original writings of the Goswamis, like Rupa Goswami. There's a Vrindavan Research Institute there in Vrindavan, and they have the palm leaves, the original palm leaves, which Rupa Goswami wrote books like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu on. And you can see the handwriting. It's just so beautiful. It's just so very, very beautiful. Bengali is actually a very beautiful script. When you look at it, I always think it's so nice. You know, some people can write very nicely. Other people, I don't know, my writing's horrible. I don't know what your writing's like, but Chinese devotees know also. Some people write Chinese characters very beautifully. You know, they even have calligraphy, what do they call it? Shupa? Calligraphy, yeah. Shupa. Writing the nice characters. And they have a brush and pen, you know. Some people, it's very beautiful, you know. But if you're not very good, if you're not very, well, you know, it will look horrible, you know. So, he was writing this whole book, so many verses. And then somebody else, they must have copied it. After he'd written it, some people must have copied it. And then got copied again. Just like I told about Gadadhar Pandit, he wanted to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Srinivas wanted to study Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar. He'd gone to Puri. And Gadadhar said, no, the ink's all smudged. You have to go to Navadvip, get it written out again. Somebody else will write again. So, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's from that era. He wrote Caitanya Bhagavat on palm leaves with a little point of a feather, and somehow he could write so many verses, and then it would be copied, and then copied again, until down to today, the present times, we have the Caitanya Bhagavat. So, of course, we don't know how many changes they've made from the original. You know, it's hard to keep everything, to preserve everything exactly as it was. Just like Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books go through so many changes, editing, this and that. And so we don't know really what was Vrindavan Das Thakur's original Caitanya Bhagavat. But somehow, in the times of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, there was also Caitanya Bhagavat. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada wrote commentary. Atta Krishna Prabhu says, right? He wrote the commentary, and it's included in some of the editions of Caitanya Bhagavat. So we have to understand how much empowerment is necessary to actually write about the glories of the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it states that those verses, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung and accepted by such men who are thoroughly honest. So similarly, Caitanya Bhagavatam, it is the jewel of Bengali literature, and we want to hear it, we want to take pleasure in remembering all the different events which are described there. It's very important for us to know about the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes people say, oh, this book's too philosophical. Just like if they read Adi Lila. Adi Lila Volume 1. Very, too much philosophy, too deep, very difficult to understand. Long purports, and people find it very difficult. But Caitanya Bhagavat, it's all narratives, different descriptions, different pastimes, events are all described. It's very easy to read, very easy to digest, and very wonderful to share it and let other people hear it. So we want to develop a taste for these things by coming here and hearing about Vrindavan Das Thakur. Those of you who have not read Caitanya Bhagavat, we think you'll be more eager to read it, right? How many of you have read Caitanya Bhagavat? Have you read Caitanya Bhagavat? Yeah, you see, only a few, right? Most of us never read it. So we hope in the future you'll all want to read the Caitanya Bhagavat. Get a copy or get some. When I first became a devotee, there were recordings. There was one Swami, Achyutananda Swami, and he'd learned some Bengali, and he'd make translations in which speaking, and we had the tapes. Those days it was all reel-to-reel tape recorders, we had the big reel tape. So, but somehow we had it, and we would play it in the temple, we'd listen to it, Of course, I was a very new devotee, it was all very new, but it was interesting. After so many years of being a devotee, now all of these things become more significant. So similarly, all of you young people, as you go on in Krishna consciousness, you'll remember more and more about this place and Vrindavan Das Thakur and his wonderful writing Caitanya Bhagavat, which was written here in this place, this very place. So we're very indebted to him that he made that effort, made that sacrifice 500 years ago. He didn't know, he would not know that in the future that book would be rewritten and published and distributed and translated to other languages. So he was just writing. He was writing. Prabhupada said, it's the duty of devotees that you should write. He wanted us to write every day. He said, no, even you don't get it published, it's just for purification. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he wrote this Caitanya Bhagavat in that mood, for his own purification. And then later on, somehow, devotees saw it, and they took advantage of it to share it with other devotees, and it's been passed on, and it's been preserved down to today. So we're very, very fortunate. And we can feel just how much mercy Lord Caitanya has given. So this is the mercy of Lord Caitanya, which came through Lord Nityananda, and then from Lord Nityananda to Vrindavan Das Thakur, and from Vrindavan Das Thakur it came through the Caitanya Bhagavat. Hare Krishna.
You can find a song by Sri Narottam Thakur Mahashai called Shadaran Gaur Mahima. Shadaran Gaur Mahima. The first line is Gaurangir Duti Od. Gaurangir Duti Od. Harmonium is not allowed in this temple. Gaurangir Dhutipada Jadhana Sampada Gaurangir Dhutipada Jadhana Sampada Caitanya Bhagavat rasavese Gaurangera Madhulila Jarkarne Prabheshila Gaurangera Madhulila Jarkarne Prabheshila Gaurangera Madhulila Jarkarne Prabheshila
Mentioned in Caitanya Bhagavat, you were devotee, something he never went to Vrindavan. Because actually, Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has disappeared in Navadip Dham, therefore all of Gaur is sanctified. And as Maharaj was saying earlier, Poti Pavan Hetu Tava Avatar, Poti Pavan Hetu, for the reason, for the purpose of delivering the most emotional bodhita,
You won't find anyone. So, actually, the Vrindavan is accessible through Navadip now. We here at this place where Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote the related little story. I was in Dhaka. I shared this with Maharaj yesterday. I was in Dhaka in the 2000s, early 2000s. At that time, there was one scholar of Bengali literature, a world famous scholar, the second most renowned. The topmost Bengali academic was Dimok. He's written some appreciation of Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita you can find in the edition. Dimok. After him was a scholar named Joseph Bardhaman from Canada. So he was invited by Dhaka University. We invited him, he was in Bangladesh, he was in Dhaka at the time. We invited him to the temple. He knows this one, he's good. So he came for work with him. Canadian, academic Canadian, white skin. He was speaking in Bengali. He was quoting, the devotees, we were ashamed to hear him quote Chaitanya Bhagavat. An academic, a foreigner, and Canadian. And I said to him after we were chatting, taking the shot, I said, when did you become a devotee? He said, no, I am not a devotee. I am not a devotee. A scholar of Bengali literature, as Maharaj was explaining, Bengali poetry, the classics of Bengali, medieval poetry. So as he was speaking to the crowds, he was quoting from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Nityananda Mohima, the glories of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Actually, Nityananda Prabhu glories, the glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu are most wonderfully described in Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. And Vrindavan Das Thakur considers himself the servant of Nityananda Prabhu. And he describes the glory of extensive descriptions of Nityananda Prabhu's preaching, Nityananda Prabhu's interaction with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this scholar, as he was speaking at Gopranima, he was pleading with the assembled Vaishnavas. I beg you, all assembly, Sajjana, Koshan, Brahmana, Shajan, all Brahman Vaishnavas, I beg you, if you want to enjoy in this world, if you want to taste the highest pleasure, read Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. That was it. He's not a devotee. And his conclusion after 40 years in the Bengali academic field was that the highest, the topmost Bengali poetry is Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. I thought today we can, because here we are in the birthplace of Sri Maharaj, where Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur has compiled the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. So I thought we could read a few verses from Sri Caitanya Bhagavat about Sri Maharaj. And in that way we can glorify Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur and remember Sri Maharaj. So at the end of ananda-kanda of Chaitanya Bhagavat, as we were describing, the ananda-kanda is the bhuvana-mohana, is the vidya-lila, and is the shankirtan. Actually, ananda-kanda, Chaitanya Bhagavat, is the Mahaprabhu's bhuvana-lila and Mahaprabhu's vidya-lila. Mahaprabhu's childhood pastimes and Mahaprabhu's scholarly pastimes. So it's an ananda-kanda, Chaitanya Bhagavat. The shankirtan pastimes, Navadip shankirtan lila, is the madhya-kanda, Chaitanya Bhagavat. When Mahaprabhu comes back from Gaya, having been initiated, he cannot carry on as a pandit anymore. He cannot give a class. Only he's interested in performing Shankirtan. And one day he calls all the devotees to the house of Sri Thakur. Brothers, we are wasting so much time sleeping at night. We will do Sankirtan, perform Sankirtan at night. And the devotee said he would say, I have many things to do tomorrow, I'll skip that program. And he said, Jai, where are you going? And I was performing the nocturnal kirtans in the house of Sri Thakur, sometimes in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. Now at the end of the Madhya-lila, Mahaprabhu takes sannyas. The end of Madhya-lila. So why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes sannyas? We can discuss a little bit, we'll read a few verses. We'll hear about the current Maharajas. This is Madhya Lila chapter 26, text number 82 of Purve Jena Gopi Shah Krishna Virahe Mayan Moran Bhai Chandre Udaye. Chandre Udaye. When the moon would rise, at that time, when the moon would rise in the evening, the gopis, Gopi Shah, the gopis of Vrindavan, Mayan Moran Bhai, they feared dying, they feared death when the moon rose, because they would remember Vrindavan Chandra when the moon rose. So thinking in this way, thinking of this mood of the gopis, they would fear dying when the moon rise, when the moon rise. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ek din gopi bhave, jagatishar, Vrindavan gopi gopi bole nirantar. One day, gopi bhave, in this mood, in the mood of the gopis, in the moonrise mood, Jagatishar, the Lord of the Jagat, the Lord of the universe, Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan gopi gopi bole nirantar. Nirantar, it said incessantly, he was chanting Vrindavan gopi gopi. So at that time, one of Mahaprabhu's students happened to come, and he had heard that Vishwambhar was a great devotee and very pious. So the student came to associate with Vishwambhar, and then he saw him sitting there chanting Gopi 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 Gopi. So the student, he began to advise Vishwambhar that Panditji, we do not hear in any scripture the glories of chanting Gopi Gopi Gopi. The scriptures declare that one should chant the name of Krishna. And then one will attain immense piety by chanting. You should chant the name of Krishna. So this ignorant student, not understanding the gopis, Krishna Virahe, the moon is about to arise, and the gopis are so afraid that we'll give up our lives. And now Mahaprabhu is in that mood, in the complete gopi bhav. And the student is saying, Krishna, Krishna, and he said, Krishna? Mahaprabhu says, Krishna? You mentioned his name, that devotee? And then he said, Mahaprabhu is saying, he's in the mood of the gopis, that devotee. You know what he did? You know how he treats women? Once he cut off the nose and cut off the ears, and he mentions, he took everything away from Bali Maharaj, sent him to Vrndavan. He is a devotee. You mentioned the name, and then Mahaprabhu getting more and more gopi bhav emotional. He picks up a stick and he's chasing that student. And the student's running for his life. Now, Sachinanda, he's very tall. You can see him in my fortune, you can imagine how swiftly he can run. That student was exhausted, just trying to get out of fear of his life. The devotees, they had to hold on to Mahaprabhu. They had to restrain him. Still he was trying to with a stick. And then that student, he came into the assembly of the other students in other departments, and he's hugging and talking, and brother, what's happened to you? Why are you so exhausted? Oh, you cannot believe it. I heard that Nimai Pandit was very pious Krishna Bhakta. I went to associate with him. I saw him chanting Gopi Gopi Gopi. I advised him. 10%. So we can arrange. We will carry on, and then you can go and take darshan. A small group at a time.
10 devotees at each time. Please go and take darshan of the manuscript. No camera, no photography, please. They are very strict. If somebody takes, then the people inside and other devotees cannot get the darshan. So you can either leave your phones here or keep them in your pocket. Don't remove your phone there. Take darshan of the manuscript. Don't touch the box. And please come back. So the next set of 10 devotees can go and take darshan.
What you can do is take a glance and memorize everything. Nityananda Das Thakur, he describes the scholarly capacity of Satchidananda, the scholarly capacity. Joto Bhakta, Gangadas Pandit Koren, Shukrit Shunile Matru Thakur Doren. Whatever Gangadas Pandit said, hearing it once, and Nimai he would remember it. So the student is saying to the other students, just see what's happened to me. I can't believe that he took a stick, brothers, and he was chasing me with the stick. Today, I rarely was able to escape with my life. And the student said, "Oh, brother, what is this? Who does he think he is?" Yes, he's the son of Jagannath Mishra, a Brahmin, Navadip Brahmin, but we are also the sons of great Navadip Brahmins. Who does he think he is to order us like a king? We were studying together in the school of Gangadas Pandit. Navadipe Chaturnik Hoite Lok Navadipe Jai Navadipe Boile Ship Idorashbai. Vrndavan Das Thakur explains that from all directions, Chaturnik Hoite Lok Navadipe Jai. Students would come to Navadip from all directions in India. Because Navadipe Boile, if you study in Navadip, Shay Idorashbai, you get a taste for learning. So yes, we were also studying in the school. Who does he think he is? Now he's ordering us and we think he's the king. Brothers, if he tries such mischievous activities again, we will certainly beat him. We will certainly beat him. So one day, Mahaprabhu, he said to Nityananda Prabhu, so one day, Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he called Nityananda Prabhu. Shuno, Prabhu bole, Shuno, Nityananda Mahashai, Tomare, Kahiye, Niju Nidoi Nishtai. Shuno, Nityananda Mahashai, Tomare, Kahiye, Niju Nidoi Nishtai. I will now share with you something which is very intimate in my heart, confidential. I will share with you something confidential. And Mahaprabhu began to explain that just like the medicine, kevala-kanda, this Ayurvedic medicine, kevala-kanda, it's meant to reduce the mucus. Like anyone here ever had kevala-kanda or Ayurvedic dosha? No, not even available now. It's meant for reducing the mucus. So Mahaprabhu explained that the medicine which was meant to reduce the mucus is increasing the mucus, more problem. Which was meant to reduce the problem is increasing the problem. No one could understand what Mahaprabhu was meaning. Only Nityananda Prabhu could understand. What is that? What is this kevala-kanda? What does it mean? Mahaprabhu, he was in the Gopi Bhav, Vrindavan, Gopi Politinonto, Gopi Bhave, Jagadishara. In this mood with the gopis, he was relishing. Actually, he was following the order of Vishnu Prabhupada, his guru, who told him to become Krishna conscious. So he's in that way, Mahaprabhu was relishing Krishna consciousness, Raja Bhav, Raja Bhakti. And his relishing of Raja Bhakti was causing the student class to threaten him. So in this way, the medicine which was meant to cure the disease is increasing the disease. Because if they beat me, then they're condemned for eternity. So what to do? Mahaprabhu is in this predicament, the Vrindavan Bhav, and then they want to beat me. So what to do? So then, only Nityananda Prabhu could understand that Mahaprabhu would take something else. Nityananda Prabhu could understand. So Mahaprabhu is explaining to Nityananda Prabhu that regarding the student class that Tobe more deki shei, doribe chonon, e mote ukari go shokol gubon, that when they see me, more deki shei means those student class, the smarters, the atheists, the non-believers, the envious, shei doribe choron, they will fall down at my feet, they will hold my feet, because what to speak of now, even now in Haragoni, everybody respects the sannyasi. All classes of people, everybody respects the sannyasi. We also respect any sannyasi who we show our respect. What to speak of 500 years ago? In fact, the society of Navadip was so aristocratic and so elevated and so advanced in consciousness. Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that Navadip Shampati Ke Boni Bare Bare Ek Ganga Khate Lokalok Shnan Kore Ke Boni Bare Bare. Who can describe the glories of Navadip? Navadip Shampati. You welcome Navadip Ek Ganga Khate in one bathing gut. Lokalok Shnan Kore. 100,000 people waiting. According to Vrindavan Das Thakur. 100,000 in one gut. And there were hundreds of guts. And then I would go from gut to gut. Just like now, when we were young, the marketplace, the city square, that was the place of congregation of the community. Now it's Facebook. But in Mahaprabhu's time, the arena of social interaction and discourse was the guts of Mahananda. Because the markets were also temporary. People would bring their goods when the vegetables were out, they would bring it. That's a hut. Dasa hut is an occasional market. Name hut is an occasional market. So the banks of the guts of Vrindavan were in this social interaction and discourse. Mahaprabhu would teach on the banks of the Mahabanga and the guts. And Mahaprabhu had defended Vijay Kashmiri. Loki Devi, she left her body on the banks of the gut. Everything happening on the gut. So there were many sannyasis in the society, and they were respected. So Mahaprabhu was explaining that the same way they will touch my feet, and in this way they will deliver them. And so the devotees weren't very happy about this. I mean, Nityananda, he didn't speak then, but he was just waiting for the opportunity. After Shantipur, we were discussing in Shantipur a couple of days ago, Mahaprabhu took permission from Sachinanda, the order of Sachinanda, to reside in Vrndavan. He took permission from the devotees. He journeyed to Nilachal, actually recently we were in Jagannath Puri with the devotees from Jubu, and we were discussing the first 3 chapters of ananda-kanda, Caitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu's journey to Jagannath Puri. It's very fascinating, the different events described in Vrindavan. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu was not saying much, but the first opportunity Nityananda Prabhu got to touch the danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he hadn't even touched it. It seems Mahaprabhu was hanging on to that the whole time. In the Ganga, he was floating from Katwa and Radhadesh to Shantipur, and then 10 days in Shantipur, Mahaprabhu carried the danda, and then journeying to Jagannath Puri. And then he left the danda in the hands of Jagadan and Pandit. Mahaprabhu went for collecting alms. Imagine that you could be at home and Mahaprabhu comes to the door one day, so that's it. Take a picture of their head. Actually, when he took the Jagyu Pavitra Anushan, when he was awarded the sacred thread of Jagannath Mission, Sachinanda, Sachigula, he was going from door to door in Navadip, begging alms. Ma Saraswati and Ma Durga, they assumed the form of Brahmanis in Navadip to be able to give alms to Sachigula as he came from door to door at that time. So, Nityananda Prabhu, the first chance he got to touch that danda, he broke it into 3 places. Threw it in the Ganga, Manga, Nodi, which you can visit. We have an ashram there. Devotees, not far from the So that Mahaprabhu was discussing, he discussed not only with the few devotees, Nityananda, Mukunda Datta, Dharatma Pandit. Dharatma Pandit is saying, you think that by shaving your head you can attain Krishna? You think that by shaving your head you can attain Krishna? And then the devotees is saying, how will that? Shika Antadan, you cut off your shika, you cut off your hair, then how will we anoint your hair with the unlucky oil? How will we anoint your hair with the fragrant flowers? Could you imagine seeing Satchidananda in the kirtan, the beautiful, long, curly locks of black hair cascading down his shoulders as he's dancing with Hidai Gosha? What a sight! As we worship Satchidananda and Hidai Gosha in their opulence. Maharaj is explaining Nityananda will go rings on all of these fingers. So we're not worshipping in the sannyas dress. We're worshipping in the Navadip Chandra. The Vijamani, the first jewel of the Navadip Brahmanas, in full, elegant dress. So the devotees they were not happy at all with Mahaprabhu's decision to take sannyas. But, as Nityananda explained, Nityananda bole, Prabhu, tumi ikshamoy, Jai tomar iksha Prabhu, Shay nishchoy, tumi ikshamoy. Whatever you desire is fulfilled. And whatever you desire, certainly that will happen. So this way Mahaprabhu, he journeyed. Mahaprabhu journeyed from Nirdoi Ghat. He crossed the river, and then journeyed. I'm not sure, but we should even in Nonka to Katwa. And there at Katwa, you can see the ashram of HHBVV Narasimha Maharaja. It's on the bank of Ganga. If you go there, you have to take bath. Then Ganga they come very swiftly. And so we can imagine Vishwamba, Vishamani, with his dhoti, white dhoti and long curly black hair, climbing out of that Nonka, climbing up the bank. Where is that sannyasi? Where is the Hariti? Who will deliver me from the material life and the entanglement? Where is that sannyasi? So the devotees had gathered at the ashram of HHBVV Narasimha. It took the whole day to shave the head of Satchidananda. The whole, because the Baba just couldn't touch the blade. When you go to Katwa now, you will see Kesha Samadhi. The Mahaprabhu's hair is put in Samadhi in Katwa. It took the whole day. Would you like to hear a few more details of Mahaprabhu's sannyas? You might get that as described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Shuno, Olivai, Prabhu Rashan Nash, Jai Kota Shunile, Hoy Sharva Bondan Nash. Jai Kota Shunile. If you hear Prabhu Rashan Nash, the descriptions of Mahaprabhu's sannyas, Jai Kota Shunile, those who hear that, Sharva Bondan Nash, all of their entanglement in the material world is removed. They are liberated from entanglement in this material world. Sri Avadutta Chandra, Gadadha Avadutta is describing who's present there for the sannyas ceremony. Of course, all the local people were there, and who accompanied all the Navadip Vasis, they did not accompany Mahaprabhu for this event. Only 4 devotees were there. Sri Avadutta Chandra, Gadadha Mukunda, Sri Chandra Shekhar Acharya R. Brahmanando, Chandra Shekhar Acharya, Mukunda, Gadadha, and